What makes self-inquiry distinct from traditional spiritual practices such as yoga, prayer, or religious devotion? The key lies in its approach to the self, the I. Many spiritual paths, whether hatha yoga or prayer, operate under the assumption of an individual self-seeking improvement. Hatha yoga emphasizes physical postures, and with every mastered pose, there's a subtle reinforcement of identity. I can do this. The I remains at the center, taking pride in its achievements. Raja Yoga follows the Eightfold Path, instilling moral principles, yamas and niyamas, discipline and concentration. Yet, despite its depth, there is still an individual striving to become more virtuous. Kundalini Yoga, which works through energy centers, also maintains a sense of self. It is I who seeks spiritual awakening. Even devotion and prayer, though deeply transformative, involve the notion of, I am praying to God. Advaita Vedanta, however, is fundamentally different. It does not aim at self-improvement, but rather self-discovery. It questions the very foundation of this I. The method is direct. Instead of refining or empowering the self, it asks you to investigate its nature. When you trace the I to its root, you see that it was never real to begin with. The individual dissolves, revealing pure, boundless consciousness. This is why Advaita is often called the direct path. How does self-inquiry differ from meditation? Meditation typically involves concentration, focusing on a mantra, an image, or an idea. This process creates a subject-object relationship. The I meditates on something, but who is really meditating? Look closely. Isn't it the ego trying to meditate? The same illusory I that claims to be a separate self is now the one attempting to silence itself. It's a paradox. The mind, which is nothing but a stream of thoughts, is trying to control thoughts. The more effort it makes, the more it reinforces itself. You can even ask yourself, who is trying to meditate? The moment you genuinely look, you'll see. It's you. But where exactly is this you? If you really investigate, you'll find nothing solid, nothing real. The meditator is just another thought. And if the one trying to meditate isn't actually there, who is left to struggle? Have you noticed the constant internal dialogue, the way you talk to yourself in your head, debating, analyzing, and questioning? This self-talk creates the illusion of two, one speaking, the other listening. It feels like you are divided, that there is a you controlling another you. But who is speaking and who is being spoken to? This division is the very structure of the ego. But the moment you truly see this, it equalizes itself. The illusion of separation dissolves and silence naturally arises. The struggle ends, not because you have quieted the mind, but because you realize there was never a separate I to do the meditating in the first place. This is the great realization. Meditation happens effortlessly when there is no one left to meditate. The mind was never real. The one trying to control thoughts was just another thought. Many believe they must quiet the mind to attain peace. But have you ever succeeded in calming the mind through effort? Trying to silence thoughts only fuels the illusion of a mind that needs controlling. The more you struggle, the more active it remains. Real silence is not an achievement, it is a realization. When you see that the mind itself is an illusion, stillness naturally follows. There is no need to calm the mind if you understand there is no mind to calm. Yet if meditation calls to you, meditate. No practice is inherently wrong. If a path resonates, follow it. But if you grasp the deeper truth, no mind, no body, no world, no universe, no God, then awakening can happen instantly. Why? Because there is no one left to awaken. If you believe spiritual progress is necessary, ask yourself, who is progressing? Who is doing the work? It is only the ego, the illusory I, which assumes it has something to achieve. One of the greatest misconceptions in spiritual seeking is the idea that we must overcome past karma, habits, or mental conditioning. The belief in karma and samskaras, mental imprints, creates an endless loop. You strive to transcend them, yet they persist because they are nothing but mental constructs. If karma were real, would there ever be an end to your struggles? The nature of the mind is to keep you bound in its web, making you believe there's always one more thing to overcome. But what if you realized there was never anything to conquer in the first place? Every time you resolve one issue, another arises, quit one habit, and another fault appears. You overcome anger only to struggle with attachment. This cycle is endless until you recognize that the very I attempting to change is itself the root illusion. Instead of trying to fix yourself, what if you turned your attention to this I? The moment you see it as illusory, everything falls away. Even the struggle itself is seen as unreal. Wouldn't it be astonishing if you could just sit down and see all of this at once, to be free in an instant? And yet the mind resists. Instead, we convince ourselves, I must work on myself, I must meditate, I must seek solitude. But is there really anything to do? If awakening is natural, why not allow it to happen right now? The notion of working towards enlightenment is just another trick of the mind. It suggests there is an I that needs awakening. But the true self has never been asleep. It has always been awake. If you feel called to practice meditation or follow a discipline, that's fine. But always remember, the true self has no body or mind to practice with. The very belief that you need to do something reinforces the illusion of an individual self. Many seekers ask, if there's nothing to attain, then what holds everything together? What remains? The answer is, nothing holds anything together because nothing is truly separate. The idea of separation itself is an illusion. Words like bliss, pure awareness, or consciousness attempt to point to this, but even these terms fall short. The closest concept is silence, not mere quietude, but a silence beyond thoughts, beyond being, beyond identity. However, the moment you think of it as a state to achieve, it slips away. There is no place to reach, no silence to enter, and even no para-Brahman in any definable sense. What remains is only direct experience, beyond words and beyond mind. This understanding requires radical honesty. Notice how often we seek answers outside ourselves, chasing teachers, methods and experiences, believing that enlightenment lies elsewhere. But the teacher you seek is already within you. When you rest in silence, you see clearly. The one searching and the one who is sought are the same. There was never a separation. The endless seeking ends exactly where you are. The moment you recognize this, the illusion of personal identity dissolves. You were never bound. You were never a seeker. You were never a person in need of awakening. You are and have always been free.